Welcome everybody to tonight's session. We're delighted to have Niels Garbe on the call tonight from Germany. He's a junior coach from the German Federation, and he's going to give us a bit of a seminar tonight on defensive zone coverage. And I'm sure we'll all enjoy what he has to say and share some experiences as we go. So welcome, Niels, and over to you.
Thanks, Barry. I hope that everybody can see me and can see my slides that I prepared. Yeah, it's a great honor for me to speak about defensive zone coverage to you guys. Yeah, this is the way that I've been doing it since about the last 6 years with different teams and different setups. Once we go through it, and then I actually prepared some clips that we can see how it looked in real games. So it's not always perfect as I wished it to be. Yeah, I work since about 8 years as a professional coach, and I worked the last season this season I worked even with in a pro league as a head coach. Unfortunately, I got released a bit early on. But nevertheless, yeah, I'm working full time with ice hockey, and I got contacted by Martin and King and to give a little bit of a short presentation, because he is really keen on making up for lost ground to the worldwide COVID situation. And yeah, from my understanding is also with the talk with Barry now that yeah, there's no ice available in Scotland. It's same here in Germany for the youth teams. The professional teams can play, but still there's no youth hockey going on. But so far for that. Quick introduction who I am and what I've done a little bit. Yeah, my name is Niels. I'm 34 years old. I graduated from Vierumäki, Finland in 2013. I studied there sports and leisure management. And I've been coaching ever since that for what is that, 8 years about now. I've been coaching since 15 years. I started when I was 18 years old. I started with skating school, and I went through every age group in hockey. I literally coached everything from skating school to pro leagues. I've been coaching. I was fortunate enough to coach in Switzerland a season in Hungary, Austria, my home country, Germany, and Norway. I coach in the Oberliga with 3 different clubs as a head coach or assistant coach. I was an assistant coach in the Alps Hockey League, and I was an assistant in the Gatligaen, that's a Norwegian first league. And yeah, that's just a little bit about what I've done in hockey. Unfortunately, I cannot name any great achievements in form of league titles and cups yet. Little bit about what tonight's presentation will be about. It's the defensive zone coverage, like we talked. I want to go through the defensive principles, then why and the purpose of zone defense nowadays, which pretty much everyone plays, but we talk about it why. Short task description of each position on the ice. What are the players supposed to do? And then I want to go through quickly the needed skills. Then I prepared some example clips. And then what I find really important, the implementation into practice. How can we teach it to our players? Because it was always good to know what we know as coaches, but how do we get it onto the ice? And I also want to go through potential weaknesses, and then if you guys have some questions, feel free to ask, so we can clear it for everyone. And or if you have some input, let's put it in the end of the presentation. I'm keen to hear some feedback from you guys. It's I personally think it always makes you better. We're coming to the defensive principles. The number one is take time and space away, right? That's the number one thing when we defend in any ball game is like, okay, I want to take from the ball or puck carrier, I want to take his time and space away. In doing so, we want to always keep the defensive side. We want to keep in hockey the stick on puck. With that, we want to take passing and shooting options away. See that I'm missing a T there, but and then of course we want to separate the opponent from the puck. That can be done by stealing the puck, like a stick check, or like a one-on-one situation where we just take the puck, or again we can do the hit. We can give a little shoulder check or a little hip check. Why do we play zone defense? And again, what's the purpose of playing it? I mean, why we're doing it is pretty obvious, right? In the 14-15 season or right after that, we got bigger zones. That means the forwards the attacking team has more space, simply. And the forwards in this game, they got a lot more speed and skills. No matter what level you're looking at, nowadays we have the McDavids, the Matthews, Crosby, Ovechkin, and Backstroms, and all these guys, and they get better and better, more skills. They're good forwards. They have nowadays everything. They can skate, they can stick handle, they can pass, they can shoot. So in order to prevent that, we want to defend our net effectively, right? So that means we cannot just defend 1-against-1 anymore. We got to pick zones on the ice, and we rely in doing that, we rely on all 5 players. With having that, we sort of want to create a safety nets, or I have heard some coaches say safety valve. The key to that is, as we see earlier in the upcoming slides, is we want to create, or we want to put our bodies between the attacking team, the offensive team. And the more we do that, the less likely they have a high quality scoring chance. We also want to have a structure to fall back on, because that helps us to defend successfully when we're under a lot of pressure. The key really is, when we have a zone defense, is it gives us a structure, and when the players follow it with discipline, it gives us the freedom then to have spent more time in the attacking zone, in the offensive zone, because we shut the other team down. And in the long run, it's about winning, right? If we allow, or if we don't allow any goals or less goals than we score, we win. That's what it sometimes is all about. The key part before we talk to our player is really important to what our players know, and it's not important what we coaches know. By that I mean, not every player is willing to do the work. Not every player understands why he has to do the work in any role in order to be successful. And therefore it takes a lot of time and patience from us coaches to constantly emphasize defensive zone coverage, successful defensive zone coverage throughout the season. Believe me, even during this season, we spend a lot of time in the video meetings with a pro team, with a team that had, in our mind, a good hockey IQ, to talk about it, how to defend successfully. Now, let's come to the fun part, defensive zone coverage. As you can see here, we have the red zone, the #1 zone. I like to call it the hit zone. We want to put our strong side D in that, and as the name indicates, we want to give a little hit. We want to establish contact. The strong side D's job is not to fancy steal the puck and make it. His job is to play the man. Then we have here with the yellow marking, the support zone. Here we are. This is usually the center's job. He is picking up either a loose puck or helps to, in the one-on-one battle or here in the two-on-two, whatever picks up the opponent that is in the support zone. The third zone here is, we like to call it the house. There's where the weak side D is, and he's picking up any forward that is in that zone. The 4 is a strong side winger. He basically has the middle of the hash mark from the face-off dot all the way till the blue line, and his job is basically to support and as well to keep the D here, the strong side D from the opponent, to keep him down low to the half wall here. And 5th is the weak side winger that has a spot here in front of the house, and his job is to make sure that no cross-ice pass can come through here, and that he has the weak side D covered. If we collapse, because when they do a switch or for any reasons we start to lose our man, easiest thing is come to the house, all 5 guys, and start to box out. Important is when we cover our zones, have an active stick. What I mean by that is keep your stick on the puck. That will cover all passing lanes, it will cover shooting lanes, and it will help so much to defend successfully. And if we, especially the wingers, if we have to steer them from the middle to the outside. Very simple, very easy. Now here in this slide we see what will happen when the attacking team is changing sides. So the puck goes onto the other side. It will be the same thing. Yeah, so the strong side D will come back to the house. In the perfect world, he will communicate to the weak side D, and he will become the strong side D in the hit zone. The center will go the long way. The strong side winger will come to the position of the weak side winger, and the weak side winger will come up. We just change sides. But as I wrote here, it's really important to make your players talk to each other. And one thing, if I don't hear it as a coach in practice, or if I don't hear it on the bench in games, I'm 100% sure that the D partner hasn't heard it either. Because when we have a full rink, when we have people there, or even with this year's lockdown season, when we don't have people there, you just have the noise from 10 guys skating, playing the puck. You gotta speak up, because we always want to play. We always want to have a guy in the house to play the man in front of the net. Important is also when we play the man in front of the net, when we have the goal protection, is cover the stick. Too many times, especially when we talk about U18, U20 players, they will what? They will establish some contact with the opponent, with the body. In their mind, they have the defensive side. Opponent's stick is free. There comes a shot, little tip in. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. 1-0 for the opponent. So it's really important. Cover the opponent's stick. Make sure you know where it is. There's a slight difference, especially here in the third league in Germany. Some teams like to play with their third forward high, like we see here in this slide. In this case, of course, we don't have all necessary a strong support like here. We might at the opponent switch to in front of the net, but it doesn't matter. It still works the same. Hit zone, support zone, we covered the house. The wingers fill up their spots. If the puck decides goes to the other side, it's not the weak side winger that picks up the third defenseman or the second defenseman here, or the winger, or whoever is the third forward high. It's actually the weak side D that is in the house. he will step in his shooting lane and then he will step up. Because when the puck is moving all the way over, you still have time to just step up in his shooting lane, and then we block shots. Just to go through that in general, what are the positions and their desired tasks? But I mean, I've spoken about it with the pictures, but just to have here a little bit of a task description is, again, strong side D in the hit zone, hit, make contact. I always tell my players, hey, you don't have to kill the guy, but leave a little mark, grind them down, especially when we play a very skilled team, when we play a team that is maybe even better, a team is even in a higher league, in an exhibition game or so. Leave a little mark. It will help you. You will invest in your game. It's just about separation the opponent from the puck. If you give a little hit and you lift his stick and you steal the puck, fine by me. But your main focus is play the man. The center as a support role usually is the center. Again, his job is to pick up the loose puck. His job is to support, even if a defenseman has to go in the corner in a one-on-one battle, you cannot always keep your defensive side. But therefore, the center is really there to show that he keeps the support, that he keeps the defensive side. The house is usually the weak side D. Like I said before, pick up your man that is in front of the net and cover the dangerous sticks. It's really, really important because, again, nowadays everybody, they are so good with tipping in. You got to cover the stick. Strong side winger, he supports until the hash marks. I personally don't want it that they go lower than the hash marks, because for one reason, all of a sudden you have three guys in the corner, strong side D center, and your strong side winger. Opponent does one little pass, one little fake. All of a sudden there are three against one situation in front of your own net, and you don't want to have that. And their job is to keep the D to the half wall. Again, steer it from the middle to the outside. Weak side winger is in a support role to support the house, to maybe take a second opponent if one gets there, or to block a shot if it goes to the weak side attacking D. If a puck goes through there and they shoot, you got to block it. Needed skills. I mean, there's always, when we teach tactics, systems, it's always good to know on what kind of skill sets the players rely on. And for me, it's the number one skill in modern hockey, skating. You need guys who can skate forward, backward, sideways. It's so important. The other big, the next skill really I want to emphasize is steering and angling. I mean, you don't necessarily need to give a big open ice hit. It's not, but to keep the defensive side and to steer players to the outside. If you have that skill, you can play in these systems a very big role, even as a small defenseman. If you have some one-on-one battle skills, that never helps, especially when you go in the corner as a D or when you work in front of the net, that you understand and how a forward will do things, what he might do or try to fake you out. That's good. To have active sticks, that is a skill really that you follow as a D man in the backwards position, that you follow with your stick the opponent's stick, so that you can always deflect the puck high in the air. That's a really, really big thing. Game sense, of course. I mean, it's important to know what's going on against who you're playing, what to do in the situation, to read the situation. And the next, the last one is shot blocking. I think also that's a really a skill. When you see that how players do it, that they go nowadays down on one knee and take it in the chest, because that's the biggest surface area on the body. Then it's definitely a skill. It's also something you can train. But yeah, I believe that's really important in order to play successful zone defense. Now I got some video examples that I would like to show you guys on with the Stever system. I just have to quickly see. Perfect. Again, I hope everybody can see the picture. This is a clip from 3 seasons ago. It's no, actually 4 seasons. It's in Norway. It's the Gatligan team that I've been coaching with. We are in red and we play. I think Manglerud Stars. They are the white team, and I just show you a couple of clips how we defended. How did we defend it there? Now, as you guys saw, we had a little switch here, but still we have the hit zone. We have here the support. We have the net front D. Strong side winger here. Weak side winger here. Again, for my taste, he could be a little bit more here. Because again, where is he positioned? I think he's in a good spot. He's not too eager to get there to steal a puck. So he holds the defensive side here. Here we had a little switch, but still okay. Now our center is actually in the hit zone, but yet again, user is establishing contact here. And here we saw that they tried to block a shot. He was a little bit late. Our weak side winger was a little bit out. That's why. We changed side, and again we hear hit zone, support zone, bit far away. Strong side winger is here. As you can see, he's not going further than the hash mark because he is not a dangerous guy. Even if that opponent would get the puck and shoot right away, look at that. There's one, even it's his guy, 2 pairs of legs. If the weak side forward here would even go slides over a bit because he sees that it's 3 sets of legs that he got to shoot through it, that it goes on the net. And that's what we talk about when we talk about safety nets. That again, we have the house guy here. We have all zones covered. And yet, yes, our opponent is dominating. They play with the puck. They have to invest a lot, but they don't get into quality scoring chances. And that is what helps us to yeah, now we have a problem that, as you guys can see, support is not really clear. Funny thing is that number 44 is the D. He should get here. And then we have the support here. We have a house. But still, we have a weak side forward there. I know it's a lot of red marking there. But again, when we see puck is in the corner, if it would get up here, we don't give up anything. Support. Yes. Our friend number 44, he should park in the house. He was always a little bit drawn to be out, but again, that is what I said earlier on. With this clip, we are in the final 2 games of the season. These were the relegation games that helped us to stay in the league. I mean, 8 months of doing that and you still don't do it. It sometimes happens. It even happens to players who play pro. Weak side is perfectly, strong side winger is okay too. It's still no score.
Okay. So sehen die beiden das schon auch. Spielen sich den Puck zu, bis der freie Mann da ist. Kommen so sicher aus dem Drittel raus.
Yeah, we weren't getting any of your sound when we were only getting the gameplay.
Oh, sorry.
We couldn't hear what you were saying when the game was playing.
Oh, okay. Then I will go over it again, and I will mute the sound of the. Sorry, I will mute the sound of the game. Should I go over it again, or should I continue with the clip?
It was just the last 2 clips. It was just the last 2 when you were talking at the same time as the clip playing. We could only hear the sound.
Oh, you only could hear the sound of the clip. So let's see what we. I think that one we watched. Now I will just have to, of course, refine the. Try to find where we left. I think that one was the last one. Let's continue with that one, and because we'll basically I muted the video, and then let's continue with this clip. The purpose or the points will repeat themselves. That's oh Christ. I practiced that so many times the other day so that it worked, and now it doesn't, of course. That's the usual.
Technology, yeah?
Yeah.
That's the thing with SIHA as well. There's so many clips.
Yeah,
pick out individually.
I them all. I put them all in a so-called movie so that I can actually. Let's continue from here. For some reason, it's okay. This is now. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Good. So now this is a clip from a U20 team, Augsburg. We were last year. This is a U20 top league in Germany. The white opponent is Mannheim. They won the last, I think, 6 years the championship. Again, we in the red shirts, we're not so strong team. And here we see a couple of things that what happen if you don't have the discipline. Basically, we don't get out. And when you're a little bit, I would want to call it lazy, but let's go with the clip that we come off a face-off. We miss a puck here, but it's 3 guys in the house. Here we have a little bit again. Here first chance with deflect, and then here we have the same setup. Hit zone. We have the support here. Now, the sad part is that is a weak side D that should get in here. He is the strong side winger, and that's the weak side winger that also should get back here. Unfortunately, he's a little bit lazy when it comes to defensive zone coverage. Super speedy forward, great offensive talent, instincts, great scoring abilities, but when it comes to play in your own zone, I don't know, he checks out or he's on holiday or something. I don't know. Maybe it's not his thing, but it's really tough sometimes. Again, same setup. We let them play outside. Yeah, they do. Mannheim does a lot of work. Now we're rimming the puck, which was not in our game plan, but yet because we are in the managing our positions, we finally get out sometimes. And now here we have a clip from the same game, a little bit later in the game. Again, we have the classic setup hit, support. Weak side D is cheating a little bit because he thinks we are already winning the puck. Weak side forward is instead of here, he's already trying to wheel away. And the strong side forward should get here. So we eventually do. We of course we don't win the puck, get another shot on net. And here is what we do. We do an icing. In the case we collapse, for me, it's fine to do an icing. Why? This clip is, I didn't cut it because again, we have the whistle. Yes, we cannot change, but we can have a breather. If we should have a face-off play, so we have something to give us a structure to fall back on. And now it's the same 5 guys that were on the ice. Yeah, we don't have a clear win, but we steal it and we get out. We can skate it out of the zone. Again, look, sorry. Again, in the last clip, we have a clear exit. So if we collapse and we come down to the house and we cannot have a setup into our breakouts or anything, if you do an icing, fine by me, do an icing. Because then we can breathe, we can set up in our face-off play, and we have a chance to start from scratch to find right away our structure. Now, this time, this clip, or I think I have 3 if they're in order. It's from Lindau. It's from 2 years ago. It's in the Oberliga. The red team is Landshut, and they play with the 3rd forward high. So we see a little bit more of what was in the 3rd slide of where I marked the structure. Again, it's a very skilled team. We were a little bit. We managed to slide into playoffs with the last spot, so it was good matchup for us. But yeah, let's see for ourselves. Again, we face a tough team. Here we have again the same setup, hit zone. Even though we are at the puck, we have the support here. He goes in the house. Strong side D could come back a bit more. Weak side D is here. Now we rim it. We don't get there. Okay. Still we got up. We have a 2-on-2 situation. Okay, we got it on net. Now we're facing the situation. We have the 2 forwards here down low. And we have the 3 guys up high. So that means, of course, we have the hit here. Support is here. Weak side, the strong side winger. weak side winger, and that would be weak side D if that puck would slide all over here. Again, it's a lot of red arrows, but I hope that it makes some sense. They try to play it on the wall. Still, now we saw another good thing here. Smart defensemen try to stick handle behind their own net. I know what you're thinking. We teach in Scotland our young children not to do that. Little surprise for you, we do that too in Germany, but sometimes our players forget everything. I don't know, but just to have a little surprise there. Again, we don't get the puck out. Clearly, okay, we have a good support by the weak side winger. We get it out here at least for an offside. We can change. We stop the puck. Nothing happens. We buy some time. Here we face a clip where they attack us with a lot of speed. Go a little bit further. And we have the classic setup. Here's in the house. Here's support. And our wingers are setting up. Yeah, Landshut is changing at the moment, but still we are in our structure. And look at this picture. When we see here, all 5 guys are in the box. Yeah, he's a bit far away, but it doesn't matter really. Puck is down here. We come in tight, and from there we always can box out. As we see here, we manage. Yeah, this time he shoots here. Again, you see pretty high though. Again, he goes around. Nothing happens. They play on the outside. We keep them there. But we manage to save the puck. We stop the puck. No harm, no foul. Nothing happens. Let them play. We push. We get into our positions. And we send the puck down the ice. Here we have a clip from this season. All right, let's go back a bit. Again, we see here, we keep the puck up. Just try to find the right clip, but for some reason it doesn't load. Well, let's go back to the presentation. I have here. I mean, I can send you the presentation, or if you record it, there's a video in the presentation which is exactly the same clips that we saw. The only thing is I couldn't draw in there, so if you want to have the clips, I can still send them around. I'm really sorry that it didn't work. Again, I really tried 3 times the other days to make sure that it works. But let's get through. Okay, we now have an idea how we want to play it. How can we implement that into practice? How can we teach it to our players? And the number one thing is walkthroughs. Like even with our pro teams, when we ride into practice camps, usually the first thing what I do before we teach anything else is our defensive zone coverage. Because even if we go in the first preseason games and our breakouts don't work and our forecheck is maybe not working, we always have something to rely on. It's really the base to build everything on. I think. And in these walkthroughs, it's sometimes that you can place an assistant coach or even 2 assistant coach in the corners with 1 puck. You whistle, and the guys really, they start skating from the red line, and they skate. Strong side D, he takes a corner, stops there. Weak side D, he goes in front of the house. Center goes in his support role, and the wingers cover their spots, weak side and strong side. You can also do that in a controlled setup that you have your other line standing there where you are, and you have 1 puck, and you, on the first whistle, you go, you set up, just like let's jump a little bit here. Just like when we see it here, that
I think you have to share your screen again.
oh,
Just the presentation one.
yeah. Am I back up or
No.
no?
Nope.
No, no.
Oh, sorry. Good thing I'm a hockey coach, not a technology guy.
There you go.
That's it.
Back on?
Yep.
Big save. Thank you.
It's just in, yeah, that's you. That's you.
The control setup is pretty much like you place your line there. You have the puck in, let's say, the right corner. You whistle, the guys come from the middle, and then you say, okay, we do the pass behind the net, and from there you play 5-on-5 scrimmage, so that everybody is in their proper zones, in the zones that are designated for them. And again, I don't care what they do then on offense. You just want to make sure you have the right defensive position. Another form of that is the rush reads, where you have the 2 lines starting both from the red line, and you go attack the net, and you're basically, your defending line is supposed to, yeah, to pick up their designated areas and work the defensive way from there. You can also do that by controlled scrimmage, because again, the part with the controlled scrimmage is really, you can whistle it down, you can correct it, you can teach your players while it's in the game situation. And the biggest part is really video feedback from games. And I think once the players turn 16, 17, it's really good to have video feedback. And even if it's just a parent to film the game, and you have some time, I understand that most of you guys have probably a full-time job. You're not full-time hockey coaches, but even if you do twice a month a video session that is 20 minutes, and you have some clips from a defensive zone coverage where it didn't work, and from a defensive zone coverage where it worked, you have proper video feedback to show it to the players, because probably for some of you guys it was easier to see it right from the clip, because you played yourself, you've been coaching a long time, that even though if I go through my theoretical build-up, in the game, yeah, I got to be here, because it's second nature to us, and so it's to our players. Now, the last part is a little bit potential weaknesses, what, even though you have a structure, what might hinder it to work. And most of the times, I find it's a lack of communication. We don't talk, especially when we switch sides, or we don't talk loud enough. If there is a switch between the opponents, we don't talk. I take him, okay, that guy's mine. Or we have no discipline, like we saw in the clip from the U20 players. Of course, they're young players. Not everything is perfect. But we rely on all 5 guys in my approach to cover the defensive zone. And therefore, you have to be disciplined to fill up your spot. Even you're only the weak side winger, but your Ds, especially the strong side D, he doesn't see where you are. So he relies on that. He makes his decision that, okay, I know that everybody else is there in their position, so I can make that. Sometimes players are too focused on the puck. And then, of course, the system collapsed. I'm not sure if you could hear me, but in one of the first clips, we had the 44, the Norwegian defenseman. He was way too puck focused. He was getting drawn into the corner instead of staying in the house. That goes hand in hand with not being patient enough. I still remember from coaching that Norwegian team and taking over the defensive zone coverage is like, guys, be patient. But for some players, I don't know why it means when in ice hockey, when we mean patient, they should be passive. That's not what I mean. I just mean that sometimes we gotta hold back a little bit, watch it, we cover it with our sticks, and then when the action speaks, when the situation presents it, we jump in. Or we do a bad read of the situation. We maybe don't know where our guy is in the back, and yet then we open up a passing lane because we assume that my opponent was somewhere else. But that again is best corrected by video. And some, especially wingers, they're a little bit too eager or too horny on the puck, and therefore they try to cheat. They try to cheat that, okay, the D maybe rims the puck or not. So they leave their zones a little bit early. But again, that is also done with a lot of coaching, talking, and video feedback. So that's was that for my presentation. Have you guys, any one of you does anybody have questions? Did something was left unclear, especially that some of the clips didn't work? Should I show something again? Any feedback? Because the defensive zone coverage can be implemented. It's done.
Niels, it's Martin.
Hi.
Do you have any clips of you practicing defensive zone coverage, at practice as opposed to games?
No, unfortunately not, because usually I thought about it when I put the presentation together, and then I realized usually I don't have anybody in the ring to film my practices. But yeah, that is actually yeah, that's a really good idea.
Yeah. Okay. I think definitely, even if you can extract the clips and send me the presentation, I can put the clips into the presentation and send it on to the guys as well.
Okay, great. Yeah, I will do that.
You know, I like the presentation. I know from my own experience that SIHA can have a mind of its own sometimes when it comes to the clips. So don't worry about that. But I like it was put across in a simple way, and I think certainly for myself and Stephen and Martin, it backs up what we're doing already at coaching courses and coaching seminars and national program stuff with both the kids and the coaches. So I think that sometimes is as good as anything. To hear other coaches in other countries, and we're all, saying a lot of things that that are the same, and it's those little differences, that you pick up speaking to everyone and listening to likes of yourself that really makes it worthwhile. So no, I thought it was really good.
There's a question come in, Niels, from Raymond Simpson. Said, during the earlier part of your presentation, you mentioned the weak side D should use mark the stick rather than man.
Yeah, I really. What I mean by that is when we have the scenario is usually when we have the opponent, the attacking opponent, is usually facing with his back our net, right? So what happens with the D in the house? What do they usually do? They bump always a little bit in the back, right? But the part is really, where is his stick? It's still in front of the forward, facing the blue line. And if a shot comes through the blue line, he still can deflect with his stick the puck. So he's still a threat. What I like to teach my Ds there is lift your stick under his. Know where the stick is. Even though you engage it, know where he is, lift it at the right moment. You got to have a little bit, of course, it comes with game sense and a little bit of the vision. Lift the sticks, control the sticks, because I don't need that the weak side D has contact to the opponent, physical contact to the opponent in the house. I rather have that he just controls with his stick, lift his sticks, and block him out of the house with his stick. I don't necessarily need him that he is aggressive with his shoulders to overpower him. Did I answer that question, or is it still a little bit unclear?
No, that's clear. That's clear.
If not, we can switch quickly to one of the videos and we go a little bit by that.
Yeah, I got that. It was more just positioning. So if their stick is towards the blue line, would they be always more there? The defenders standing goal side rather than maybe a different position to push them away.
Yeah,
it's okay. I think you answered the question I was after.
Because what will happen is really sometimes, right? You will say, hey, you gotta mark your man in the house, and what the player will answer right away? Hey, coach, I did it. Coach, I did it. It's not me, coach. I did it. I have my man. Number one thing, right? Like when the guys come off the ice, we got scored on. Coach, I have my man. Yeah, in that position, maybe you had your man, but you still didn't do your job or your task properly. So therefore, for me, that is important. I have another question here. What level should you spend practicing D zone each week? That's a tricky one because it depends a little bit. I would start with it maybe age 14, 15 to go through the basics. But if we're honest, what does a U15 game look like? Going back and forth. A lot of breakaways because the kids are still learning to skate backwards. They're developing that. So to have a general understanding of where to position yourself, again, I don't want to put it hourly or each week because I usually do it in the beginning of the season before we have maybe an exhibition tournament or so, and then you go it game by game. Because what if in the league you maybe have a game where you're 80% in the attacking zone? Why would you worry about your defensive zone coverage? If you maybe had only, and then you had some penalties, so it's tough really. So I would segment it I would start with that in the beginning of the season, and then you maybe have maybe a slot of 20 minutes for 2-3 practices a week. If you have 3 practices a week, I would coach it 2 times. I would have the first practice, I would just do skills and maybe small area games and just maybe do one-on-one battling there so that you build up to that. And then maybe on a Wednesday and Thursday, I would have it 20 minutes so that you can whistle it down, you can correct it. Each line gets their reps. And then I would do that for 2-3 weeks. And then usually you start your games, right? And then and then the older you go from U18, U20, of course you do more and more tactical stuff. Again, I would do it 2 times. Even if you have 4 practices a week, I times because the fourth practice you need to do power play and penalty kill, which are different toppings. Yeah, that's my recommendation. I hope Adam Walker, I answered a little bit your question in that sense. We have another question here from Colin McMillan. The blue line shot versus lifting the stick. That is the blue line. The D should just step out when we have identified clearly 3 attackers stay high. Sorry, my thoughts are a little bit rolling here. So when we identify clearly that our opponent is playing with 3 attackers high, then we have that the weak side D is stepping out when the 3rd attacker on high gets the puck. It's pretty much when it crosses over, then the D steps out and blocks it. I hope that is clear with the stepping out part, because I sort of read your question as two. I understand that some coaches like their players to block shots from the blue line instead of facing, trying to push the opponent away. I only like that for my forwards, and sometimes it doesn't work because your players are too late. And also sometimes there's a little bit of a risk when your players try to block shots that they deflect the puck. To be honest, the goalkeeper is much better equipment, it's much better protected. And if we think about it as a defenseman, you block 3-4 shots every night, at some point you probably get injured. So I rather have my defensive team, my defensemen to try to push the guys out of the way, control the opponent's stick, and let the puck facing straight the goalkeeper. Because for a goalie, they tell me that's the easiest shots they can save. When it's a straight shot from the blue line, they have long time to see it. They have maybe a clear vision. So I prefer that. I'm not saying, therefore, that anybody else is wrong. It's different approach to the game. And to be honest, it comes a little bit back to what what your players know, and maybe what team you have. For example, if you have really big, tall, tough defensemen, block a shot. If you have small, tiny ones, maybe just let them work the guys out of the way. Depends a little bit on the players you have. So, but again, I like to just my forwards try to block shots once in a while. Again, I hope I answered that question. Anything else?
Andy, any more questions? No. No.
No, just one thing I'd like to chip in with, just to reiterate what Barry said. It's nice to know that the presentation you put together is very similar to what we're trying to teach our kids at national level. Like your first couple of slides there, where you were talking about taking away time and space and being goal side and things like that. These are all the things that we're really trying to teach kids at national level with the Scottish junior teams. I think especially the goal side positioning. I think going back 4 or 5 years ago when Barry and I started doing the national programme, I don't think many kids in Scotland really understood what being goal side of the puck or goal side of the player actually meant. So we had to spend quite a bit of time teaching that. But it's a huge thing, you know. If you're goal side of your guy, if you're between the guy and your own net, you're basically doing about 50% of your job just by standing in the right place.
Absolutely, I cannot agree more. And I see that. I think that's also a modern part of a modern player's problem is a little bit, they don't play unorganized games anymore in the afternoons. You know, they don't meet up in school after school and just play maybe soccer or football. Like, you know, they don't play that anymore. They don't meet up in the park and be like, okay, hey, let's play. And that's just a lot of things. I think what we coaches, our generation, we did that. I at least I can remember. Hey, we went to the schoolyard after school, and I played with guys maybe even once or twice my whole youth career. We just played against each other and we had fun. It was just a one afternoon. And I think with, at least from the German side, I could say that nowadays school is taking so much time. The kids don't have really their free time anymore. Yeah, they're really good with a smartphone and they can probably fix everything that I couldn't fix today. But what they miss is playing games. Also, that's there's a really good question that from Eric Young came in, and that is coming right here with what I want to say is playing games. And again, playing cross-ice games, playing games where you maybe have a joker so that your team passes to the joker, and you as a defending team, you just want to stay even between a stationary joker and the players. You already so much more of, okay, playing defensive sides, so you understand already what is the defensive side, even though you maybe have never heard about that. And that is something, especially when you play against older kids on the playground, that's also something you understand really quickly, because the older kids will be stronger, more powerful, faster, quicker. So when you want to play with them, and in the natural desire is always to win, right? So you find a way, you learn how to play it. And I think that's unfortunately what the younger generation is missing a bit. Just as an anecdote, because here it's U11, U12 mentioned, you're gonna have these age groups, and when I coach them, it's usually you have a very time, right? 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, if you're lucky. Usually that collides a little bit with parents picking them up and coming from work and everything. So what usually happens is a few players come in a couple of minutes late, not because they don't change quick enough, it's just the parents cannot be there earlier. So especially in that age group, I like to kick off practices with a game. Just an unorganized game, playing 5 against 6, just throw a ring or tennis ball and let them play, or 3 tennis balls, just let them then play, so that when the new kids coming in, they can just pick a team and they can come play. Because when we look at that has to do with reducing their stress and their anxiety to tell coach I'm late, because it's not their fault. Let's be honest, an 8-year-old kid cannot drive himself to the rink. And I'm pretty sure it's a similar situation in Scotland than in Germany. They don't always live right next door to an ice rink. So parents are willing to drive them for quite a distance. So it's really easier if you have a game to come together them. And then you can start with different drills. You can set up different 3-4 drills, and you can make stationary practice. But I had it in that age group that kids always come in, oh, we don't coach. This team is 4 and we are 5. That's unfair. Can we sit one guy out so we always play 4 against 4 instead of just playing? It's an unorganized game. But it's so tough for the young generation to understand. Okay, hey, just playing, having fun, where you learn most fundamental sport principles, keeping the defensive side, attacking from the outside. All these things, even though that was not a topic today, but these principles, like you said, if you can teach them on national team level, on selection team level, on a club team level, you've done 50, if not 60, 70% of your job. Because the number one thing is really take time and space away, and you have almost done your job. I'm sorry that I wandered off a little bit with my train of thoughts, and I hope that I didn't confuse anybody too wildly. But to wrap it up for the last question again for Eric Young, U11, U12 players, don't focus on having a zone coverage at all. Just focusing skating, stick handling, passing, and shooting, and playing. And they will learn these principles just by themselves.
Niles, I don't have a question, but just one comment that I've seen over the last few years. Some kids get into a bad habit with their stick when they're defending, and they fish instead of having a good active stick. It's a big fishing stick that goes left to right.
Oh yeah.
You know, we see kids going like this, and it just infuriates you. But it's the habits getting into a young age, and that's a defensive habit at a young age, trying to encourage that as opposed to big fishing rods at a young age. No, that's just a comment. It's not a question.
No, that is correct. We have these. I like to call them sword fighters, because they're try to go with a stick on the ice like crazy. Like it's almost like the curling guys.
Yeah. Okay.
That is a little bit. It's tough to take. It's tough to take away. Yeah, it's a habit. Maybe that again can be when you show players with video, when you film that, and you go. But I would do it one-on-one and be like, I just pick a fantasy name. Hey, Brandon, look at the video, because you can do that with an iPhone, right? You just with a fishing mode. It's like, why do you wipe the ice? Do you try to pick up the current? Yeah, they even do it a little bit funny. Ask them the question. The key part to that is really, instead of embarrassing them, you have to really isolate them a little bit. It's not for the whole group like, oh, 20 guys. Hey, let's look what Brandon is wiping the ice again. Hey, good job, coach. Of course, then he will feel embarrassed and feel resentment and most likely not coming back. But that would be, for example, really with the iPhone, you videotape that, and then you can go and be like, even in the intermission. Hey, Brandon, look at my iPhone. Hey, just for me, what were you thinking? Because sometimes they are not aware of that, or they had a mind like, hey, coach, I really wanted to do this, and then they see, oh yeah, you were right, coach.
Yep, I agree. Okay, guys.
Oh, here's one more from Richard Cargill. And when you play a really mobile team that is switching a lot, and you have trouble to switch, I would go tighter to the house and maybe even play with 5 guys in the house. That would be my approach. If I see in the first period, for example, oh, my guys are missing all their switches, and your opponent creates a lot of shots, I would say, hey guys, let's go all 5 guys to the house. Let's box out from there. And maybe then if the structure gives your players confidence, maybe then go a little bit to a man-on-man and say, okay, you guys pick your opponents. But usually, again, nowadays to play man-on-man against a mobile team, we always 2 steps behind. My personal opinion, but again, I would like to try it to see where that. But for me, my approach would be, hey guys, listen, we cover the house, box out from there, and then we go.
Okay. Good. Good. Punchy, anything to add?
No, nothing from me.
Bye.
Barry?
That was all good. All good. All made sense to me.
Good.
Okay, Niles, if you could send me the presentation with some clips, I can forward it on to everyone. But the session was recorded as well, as long as you're okay with us putting it on the YouTube channel.
For sure. Yeah.
Okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay, great, guys. Okay, Niles, thanks very much. Really appreciate you taking the time to come in, do the presentation. I think everybody enjoyed that. So, really appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you guys for your time. It was a huge honor to speak to all of you guys. Hopefully you could understand my English
your English is
and my thoughts, because sometimes I get so passionate that I get a little bit carried away.
Yeah.
But yeah, really appreciate it, and I will send you all the material that I used. And
Great.
good luck, guys. Yeah, hopefully we can see one day each other in person and being on the ice.
Niles, I would really love to see you talking hockey after about 10 beers. I think that'd be great fun.
Yeah,
I think
my
that'd be
pleasure.
great fun. And a
Okay,
Scotch
everybody.
pub.
Well, listen, thanks everybody for tuning in again. We've got more stuff coming up. Friday Night Live this Friday. We've got Dodie Wood coming on, an ex-Air Eagles player, an ex-NHL player. And then we've got another coaching webinar coming up next Wednesday as well. So keep your eye out on the websites and social media for all those announcements. But we'll let you all head off now. And no, again, thanks for tuning in, everybody. That was great. Thank you.